Welcome to my channel. Let me ask you a question. What if the man you called father was not your real father? What if you grew up with love, only to discover later that everything was wrong? This sounds shocking, doesn't it? But many times in life, the truth is not what we think. Sometimes, the people we trust most are not who they seem to be. Stay with me, because this story is not just about family. It is about truth, pain, and the strength to move forward. And as we go through this story, you will also learn simple English words and sentences that will help you grow stronger in your own English journey. Imagine a child who wakes up every morning and calls someone father. He believes this man is his world. He believes this man is his guide, his teacher, his protector. He plays with him, eats with him, and feels safe in his arms. For the child, there is no doubt. The word father means love, trust, and care. Now, think about this. What happens when the truth comes, and the child discovers that everything he believed was wrong? That the man he called father was not his father at all? This is not just a story of one child. It is a story that teaches us about life itself. In this journey, we will see love. We will see lies. We will see pain. But most importantly, we will see how truth can break us and how strength can rebuild us. Just like learning English, life gives us lessons step by step. First it feels easy, then it feels hard, then it hurts, and then, slowly, we grow stronger. This story will not only touch your heart, but it will also give you simple English words and sentences that you can use in your own life. So, don't go anywhere. Stay with me till the end, because The Wrong Father is not only about family, it is about you, me, and the lessons we all must learn. Chapter 1. The Child Who Did Not Know. There was once a little boy. His world was very small, but it was also very bright. His mornings started with the sound of his father's voice. His evenings ended with his father's smile. For him, this man was not just a parent. He was his hero. The boy looked up with shining eyes and thought, "He is my father. He will always be here." Every day was simple. They ate breakfast together. Sometimes it was bread with tea, sometimes rice with vegetables. The boy did not care what was on the table, because what mattered most was sitting together. The man laughed. The boy laughed too. The man spoke. The boy listened carefully. The boy repeated his words, just like children do when they are learning to speak. Simple English sentence. He is my father. Repeat it slowly with me. He is my father. For the boy, these words were not just language. They were his truth. In the evenings, they played outside. The father threw a ball, and the boy ran to catch it. Sometimes he fell. Sometimes he cried. But each time, the father lifted him up and said, "Don't worry. Try again." These little moments became big memories in the heart of the child. Simple English sentence. We play together. Say it again. We play together. This is what the boy felt every single day. Children believe what they see. They do not ask too many questions. If someone loves them, they believe it is forever. If someone says, "I am your father," they accept it without doubt. This is what makes childhood so beautiful and also so fragile. The boy's mind was like clean paper. Every smile, every touch, every word was written on that paper. And on the top of that page was one sentence. I believe. Simple English sentence. I believe. For the boy, believing was natural. He had no reason to question. One day, the boy and his father walked to the market. They held hands as they moved through the busy street. The father bought him a sweet, and the boy's face lit up. Such a small thing. But for a child, it felt like a treasure. People around smiled and thought, "What a happy family." The boy thought the same. In his heart he said, "I am lucky. I have a father who loves me." The innocence of the boy was pure. He did not know about lies, secrets, or broken promises. He only knew about love. When his father came home tired, the boy ran to the door, hugged him, and said, "Welcome home, father." He felt proud. He felt safe. He felt whole. Simple English sentence. I love my father. Say it again. I love my father. These words were the song of his heart. But life is strange. Sometimes it shows us only one side of the picture. Sometimes it hides the truth until the right moment. For now, the boy lived in his happy world. He believed his family was perfect. He believed his father was real. He believed his life would always stay the same. Let me pause here and give you a thought. Have you ever believed something with all your heart, only to find out later that it was not true? It hurts, doesn't it? That is what makes this story so powerful. Because the boy you see now, full of trust and love, will one day face a truth that will break his world apart. But before that day comes, we must feel his innocence deeply. We must understand how much he trusted, how much he believed, how much he loved. For English learners, this chapter gives us three important and simple sentences. Let us repeat them together. He is my father. We play together. I believe. These are not just practice sentences. They are also keys to the boy's heart. They show us his world of love and trust. When you say them, do not just practice English. Feel the meaning. Feel the child's love and innocence in each word. The boy's story reminds us that childhood is often filled with unquestioned truths. Children trust without asking. They love without limits. They believe without fear. That is why betrayal cuts so deep later. The stronger the belief, the deeper the pain when it breaks. But for now, the boy is still smiling. He is still playing. He is still saying proudly, "He is my father." He does not know yet that life will test him. He does not know yet that truth will shake him. At this moment, all he knows is love. And that is what makes his innocence so powerful and his coming journey so unforgettable. Chapter 2. The first doubt. The boy was growing older. He was no longer a small child who only played and laughed. He had begun to look at faces carefully. He had begun to notice the little things around him. One day, as he stood in front of a mirror, he saw his own eyes, his own skin, his own hair. Then, he looked at his father and saw something different. His eyes were not the same. His hair was darker. His face was sharper. For the first time in his life, the boy felt something strange. He thought to himself, "Why don't I look like him?" At first, the thought was small, like a tiny cloud in a big blue sky. But as the days passed, the cloud grew bigger. When the boy walked with his father in the village, people sometimes stared. Some of them whispered quietly to each other. Others looked away quickly when the father noticed. The boy could not hear the full words, but he could feel it. He could feel the difference in the air. One day, a woman in the village smiled at him and said, "You are so handsome. You look just like." She stopped suddenly, then laughed awkwardly and changed the subject. The boy froze for a moment. "Look like who?" he thought. That night, as he lay in bed, the question echoed in his mind. He repeated it again and again. "Look like who? Why did she stop?" Simple English phrase, "I wonder." Say it slowly. I wonder. This is what the boy was feeling. He was beginning to wonder about his life, his father, his face. The boy's heart was heavy. He still loved his father. He still wanted to believe. But the whispers were growing louder. Once, two men at the tea shop spoke softly as the father walked past. The boy only caught a few words. Not real. Not the same secret. He looked up at his father. But the father acted as if nothing had happened. He smiled. He patted the boy's head, and they kept walking. But inside, the boy's mind was not calm anymore. Simple English phrase. I feel confused. Repeat it. I feel confused. This is exactly what the boy wanted to say, but he had no courage to ask. Days turned into weeks, and the boy noticed more and more differences. His father's nose was sharp, but his was round. His father was tall, but he was shorter than other boys his age. Even their voices were different. Why am I not like him? He asked himself quietly. Why don't I look like my father? Then came the day that shook him. He was playing outside when another child, a little older than him, shouted in anger during a fight. He is not even your real father. The words were like a stone hitting the boy's chest. His face turned pale. His hands trembled. He wanted to shout back, but the words stuck in his throat. He ran home, tears rolling down his cheeks. Simple English phrase. Is it true? Say it with me. Is it true? These three words lived in his heart now. At night, he sat near his father, but the warmth felt different. He looked at his father's smile, and for the first time, he felt doubt behind it. He wanted to ask, Father, is it true? But the fear of the answer kept his mouth shut. He looked at his mother too, hoping she would say something. But her eyes looked away quickly whenever he stared too long. Silence can sometimes speak louder than words, and for the boy, silence was now louder than truth. His world, once so safe, was beginning to break. The walls of trust were shaking. The floor of belief was cracking. He still loved his father, but love was now mixed with fear. He still believed, but belief was now mixed with doubt. He was too young to understand everything, but old enough to know that something was wrong. For English learners, this chapter teaches us three important expressions. Let us say them together. I wonder. I feel confused. Is it true? These are not only English sentences. They are also windows into the boy's heart. They show his doubt, his confusion, his fear. When you say them, don't just practice the words. Imagine the boy's feelings. Imagine the pain of not knowing the truth. This is the moment of doubt. It is the point where a happy child's world begins to shake. Innocence starts to fade, and questions begin to rise. Every whisper in the village, every stare from a stranger, every word half-spoken feels like a knife cutting deeper. The boy is no longer only a child who says, "He is my father." Now he is a boy who whispers to himself in the dark, "Is it true?" The story is moving toward the painful truth. But before we reach that moment, we must sit with the boy in his doubt. We must feel his confusion, his sleepless nights, his silent questions. Because doubt is the seed from which truth will grow, and his life will never be the same again. Chapter 3. The painful truth. The boy lived many days with questions in his heart. Doubt followed him like a shadow. He tried to ignore it. He tried to smile, to play, to act as if nothing was wrong. But inside, he was restless. His young mind was like a storm. He wanted answers, but he was afraid of what those answers might be. Then, one evening, everything changed. The boy was sitting near the door when he heard two women from the village talking outside. They did not see him. They spoke in low voices, but the words were sharp enough to cut through the air. One of them said, "Poor child. He does not even know the truth. That man is not his real father." The boy froze. His heart stopped for a moment. The words hit him like thunder. Not his real father? He could not believe what he had just heard. He wanted to cover his ears, but it was too late. The words were already inside his heart. He ran to his mother. His face was pale. His voice shook as he asked, "Mother, is it true? Is he not my real father?" For a moment, his mother stayed silent. Her eyes filled with tears. The boy waited, his chest heavy, his hands trembling. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Yes," she whispered, "it is true." The boy felt the world fall apart under his feet. He shouted, "No, this is a lie." He wanted to believe his mother was wrong. He wanted her to say, "No, it's not true." But the tears in her eyes told him that the truth had finally arrived. Simple English sentence. This is a lie. Repeat it. This is a lie. That is what the boy screamed in his heart. His mother tried to explain. She said, "Your real father left before you could know him. This man raised you as his own. He gave you love. He gave you a home." But the boy was too hurt to listen. The words sounded like noise in his ears. His heart was full of anger. Simple English sentence. He is not my real father. Say it slowly. He is not my real father. The boy shouted again. "Why did you not tell me before? Why did you hide this from me? Why did you let me believe a lie for so long?" He felt betrayed. The people he trusted most, his parents, had kept the biggest secret of his life. He went outside and sat alone. The night was dark, but his heart felt darker. He looked at the stars and whispered, "I feel hurt." His chest was heavy, his eyes wet, his body weak. Simple English sentence. I feel hurt. Repeat it. I feel hurt. This was the truth of his heart. The man he had called father for so many years came to him and sat quietly. He placed a hand on the boy's shoulder and said, "Son, I may not be your real father by blood, but I am your father by love." The boy did not answer. He could not. His heart was torn. He wanted to run, to scream, to hide. The shocking truth had arrived, and it cut him deeply. The whispers of the village, the stares of strangers, the questions in his own heart, all of it now made sense. But sometimes, the truth feels heavier than lies. Sometimes, the truth feels like a punishment. For English learners, this chapter gives us 3 powerful sentences. Let's practice them together. He is not my real father. I feel hurt. This is a lie. These are not just sentences to practice. They are the boy's emotions. They are the words of his broken heart. When you say them, try to feel what the boy felt: confusion, betrayal, anger, sadness. The boy's world had changed in one moment. Yesterday, he believed in a perfect family. Today, he knew it was all different. Yesterday, he smiled with trust. Today, he cried with doubt. The line between love and truth had become sharp and painful. This is the painful truth. It is the moment when a child's heart learns that life is not always what it seems. It is the moment when innocence ends and reality begins. And for this boy, it was the beginning of a long journey, one filled with struggle, choice, and the search for peace. Chapter 4. The real father appears. The boy could not sleep after the painful truth. His nights were filled with questions. His days were filled with silence. He walked through the village with heavy steps. He no longer ran, no longer laughed. Every time he looked at the man he once called father, his heart shook. He loved him, yes, but he also felt betrayed. How could love and anger live in the same heart? One morning, his mother sat beside him. Her voice was soft but serious. She said, "There is something more you must know. Your real father lives not far from here. If you want, I can take you to meet him." The boy's heart jumped. He had waited for this moment without even knowing it. But at the same time, he was afraid. Did he want to see this man? Did he want to know him? Simple English phrase. I am confused. Say it slowly. I am confused. This is what the boy felt in that moment. A few days later, his mother took his hand and led him down a long road. The boy's mind was racing. He thought of the man who had raised him. He thought of the truth his mother had spoken. And now, he thought of the stranger he was about to meet. The man who gave him life, but not his childhood. Finally, they arrived at a small house. His mother knocked on the door. A tall man opened it. His face was serious, his hair a little gray. His eyes looked deep, almost like the boy's own eyes. For a moment, time stood still. The boy stared at him and whispered softly, "Who are you?" The man's lips trembled. He looked at the boy, then at the mother. He said in a low voice, "I am your father." The boy's heart raced. His hands felt cold. He could not understand. Was this man really his father? The word father had always meant love, laughter, and safety. But this man was a stranger. Simple English phrase. Who are you? Repeat it with me. Who are you? The man stepped closer and said, "Nice to meet you, my son." His voice was soft, but also unsure. It was the first time he had spoken those words to his own child. Simple English phrase. Nice to meet you. Say it again. Nice to meet you. But for the boy, these words did not feel natural. They felt strange, even painful. How could he say "nice to meet you" to his own father? The boy looked at his mother. His eyes were full of questions. Why had this man left? Why had he not been there when the boy needed him most? Why was he appearing now, after so many years? His heart was heavy with confusion. The man tried to explain. He said, "I could not stay with you when you were small. Life was hard. I made mistakes. But I am here now. I want to know you." The boy listened, but his heart was divided. On one side was the man who had raised him with love. On the other side was this stranger who shared his blood. This was the deepest conflict of his young life. Two fathers, two truths, two worlds pulling him in different directions. Which one was real? Which one was right? The man who gave him life, or the man who gave him love? His mind whispered again and again, "I am confused. I am confused." The boy stayed quiet. He could not hug this new father, but he could not reject him either. He stood still, with tears in his eyes. His heart wanted to shout, "Why did you leave me?" But his lips would not move. His mother placed her hand on his shoulder and said, "It is okay, my son. Take your time." The meeting ended with silence. The man looked at the boy with hope, but also sadness. The boy walked away with heavy steps, holding his mother's hand. Behind him, the man stood in the doorway, watching, waiting, perhaps regretting. For English learners, this chapter teaches us 3 important expressions. Let us repeat them together. Nice to meet you. Who are you? I am confused. These are not only sentences. They are the boy's heart in simple words. They show the power of emotions and the pain of choices. The powerful moment of meeting had come. The boy had finally seen the face of the man who gave him life. But the meeting did not bring peace. It brought more questions, more pain, more doubt. The child was now standing between 2 fathers, 2 paths, and 2 futures. His world was no longer simple. His journey was only becoming harder. Chapter 5. The struggle inside the meeting with his real father left the boy in silence. His heart was not calm anymore. He walked home slowly, holding his mother's hand. But his thoughts were far away. In his mind, 2 faces appeared again and again. the man who raised him and the man who gave him life. Both called him son, but the boy did not know which voice to believe. That night, the boy lay in bed with his eyes wide open. Sleep would not come. He turned left, then right, but the same question stayed in his mind. What should I do? He thought of the father who had taught him to walk, who had lifted him when he fell, who had played with him in the evenings. He thought of the other father, the stranger who had his eyes, his blood, his name. His heart pulled in two directions, and he felt like he was breaking. Simple English phrase, I must choose. Say it slowly. I must choose. This was the painful truth of his heart. For many days, the boy lived in this battle. When he looked at the man who raised him, he remembered love, but also the lie that had been hidden from him. When he thought of the man who gave him life, he felt curiosity, but also anger for being abandoned. Each thought was like fire. Each memory was like a knife. He stopped playing with friends. He stopped smiling at home. He sat alone for hours, thinking, worrying, crying. At night, he looked at the ceiling and whispered, Why me? Why must I suffer like this? His small heart carried a heavy burden that even grown men sometimes cannot bear. Simple English phrase, life is hard. Repeat it, life is hard. For the boy, life had become a mountain too tall to climb. His mother watched him with sad eyes. She tried to comfort him, but the boy was lost inside himself. Sometimes she said, My son, you don't have to choose. Both men can be part of your life. But the boy shook his head. To him, it did not feel that simple. How could he accept two fathers when one had hidden the truth and the other had disappeared for so long? One evening, he sat outside alone. The stars above seemed brighter than usual. The wind was soft. In that quiet moment, he whispered to himself, I feel strong. He was trying to convince his own heart. He wanted to believe that even with pain, he could stand tall. Simple English phrase, I feel strong. Say it again, I feel strong. This was the hope he held on to, even in the middle of his struggle. Days passed, but the conflict inside him did not end. He met the man who raised him and wanted to shout, Why did you lie to me? But he also wanted to hug him, because love was still real. He met his real father and wanted to cry, Why did you leave me? But he also wanted to know him, because blood still mattered. His heart was a battlefield, and every step felt heavy. For English learners, this struggle teaches us 3 useful sentences. Let us practice them together. I must choose. Life is hard. I feel strong. These sentences are simple, but they are also powerful. They show the boy's pain, his conflict, and his courage. They can also help you when you face challenges in your own life. The lesson from this chapter is clear. Life sometimes gives us pain we did not ask for. It places us in situations we cannot understand. It makes us choose when we do not want to choose. But pain also gives us strength. Confusion also gives us growth. The boy's struggle is not only his. It is the struggle of every human being who has ever faced difficult choices. The emotional battle inside him was deep, but it was also shaping him. He was no longer the innocent child who believed without question. He was now a young soul learning to stand, to question, to decide. And even though the choice was painful, he was slowly learning one of the greatest truths of life. We cannot control what life gives us, but we can control how we respond. The boy whispered again into the night, I must choose. His voice was weak, but it was honest. Life is hard, he said again, with tears in his eyes. But then he took a deep breath, wiped his face, and said once more, this time stronger. I feel strong. And in that moment, even with pain still in his heart, he took his first step toward healing. Chapter 6. The lesson of forgiveness. The boy's struggle had lasted many nights. His heart was heavy with pain, but slowly, a light began to shine inside him. He thought about the man who raised him, the one who had carried him on his shoulders, the one who had wiped his tears, the one who stayed when no one else did. Was that not real fatherhood? Was being a father only about blood? Or was it also about love, care, and presence? One afternoon, the boy sat quietly under a tree. The wind touched his face, and he closed his eyes. In his heart, a small voice whispered, "Forgive." At first, he resisted. How could he forgive lies? How could he forgive pain? But then he remembered the smile of his father, the warm meals, the small gifts, the laughter they shared. Those moments were true. Those memories were real. Lies had hurt him, but love had also built him. Simple English phrase, I forgive you. Say it slowly. I forgive you. These 3 words are small, but they are strong. That evening, the boy sat with the man who raised him. His eyes were filled with tears, but his voice was calm. "Father," he said, "you are not my real father, but you are the one who has been here for me. You are the one who gave me love. And today, I say to you, I forgive you." The man's hands trembled. His eyes broke open with tears. He hugged the boy tightly and whispered, "Thank you, my son." For the first time in many weeks, the boy felt his heart grow lighter. Forgiveness did not change the past, but it changed the present. Forgiveness gave him peace. The next day, he also met his real father. It was not easy. The boy looked at him and said, "You left me. You were not there. But I do not want to carry hate in my heart. I forgive you too. I will move on." His real father stood in silence, unable to speak. The boy did not know if this man would ever become close to him, but that was not the point. Forgiveness was not only for the fathers, it was for the boy himself. Simple English phrases to practice. I forgive you. Love is stronger than lies. I will move on. Repeat them with me. I forgive you. Love is stronger than lies. I will move on. The boy began to live with peace in his heart. He played again with friends. He laughed again with his mother. He even began to smile with the man who raised him. The truth still hurt, but love was stronger. The wound was still there, but forgiveness was healing it little by little. In life, many people carry heavy secrets, broken families, and painful truths. But this story teaches us something important. Sometimes the wrong father can still give the right lessons. The man who was not the boy's real father had still taught him love, patience, and kindness. Blood gives us life, but love gives us meaning. The boy understood something deeper now. Being a father is not about whose blood runs in your body. Being a father is about who holds your hand, who guides you, who stays when life is hard. And being a son is not only about demanding the truth. It is also about learning to forgive, to accept, and to grow. The lesson was clear. Truth hurts, but love heals. Forgiveness does not erase the pain, but it gives us freedom. Carrying anger is like carrying fire. It burns the one who holds it. But forgiveness is like water. It cools the heart. It brings peace. It gives new life. The boy whispered to himself one last time, I forgive you. Love is stronger than lies. I will move on. He took a deep breath, and for the first time in a long time, he felt free. The sky looked brighter. The future looked possible. The wrong father had hurt him, but the wrong father had also taught him the meaning of love, sacrifice, and forgiveness. This was the final lesson. A lesson not only for him, but for all of us. We cannot choose the family we are born into, but we can choose forgiveness. We cannot control the past, but we can control how we live today. Sometimes life gives us the wrong story, but inside that story, there is still a right path. And with that, the boy's journey came to an end. His pain had become wisdom. His anger had become peace. His tears had become strength. If this story touched your heart and also helped you learn new English words and sentences, give this video a like. Your like shows me that you enjoy learning English through real stories. And if you believe that every story can teach us both English and life lessons, then write in the comments. I will learn with stories. I will read your comment, I will reply, and I will cheer you on in your English journey. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more simple and powerful English lessons. Lessons that are easy to understand, lessons that not only teach you grammar and words, but also give you wisdom for life. Every video is made for you, so you can learn English step by step and at the same time, grow stronger as a person. So, like, comment, and subscribe, because together, we will learn English and life, one story at a time.